good day or good night, depending on the time. So, have you noticed anything different? Are you hearing anything different? Wait a minute, what? Do you hear the difference? Amro, did you buy a mic? No, I didn't. I just borrowed Ebo's headphones, and they tend to have a good mic on them. Again, am I going to buy a mic? Why should I now when I can borrow one? Oops, sorry. Okay, so I realized that from the last podcast, I realized there was a couple of stuff I missed out on saying. Maybe because I was trying to jam it in 10 minutes, ended up with 8. Doesn't really matter. Number one, my accent is weird. Yeah, I don't know why. It's just weird. I hope it doesn't isn't really a barrier when it comes to listening. Second thing was I realized I didn't introduce myself, thinking that everyone listening to this would be someone who knows me, which is kind of narrow-minded. So I would like to introduce myself by saying Amro is the name I go by. Amro. You want to say Amro, Amro, whatever you want to say, it works. It doesn't really matter. Uh, I'm 6'5", blonde, weighs around 50 kilos. uh, yeah, I mean, it's just 4 letters. I think that's all you need to know about me, besides my words. They compose. I mean, who am I is the composite from which I remove those words to make up a podcast. Yeah. If you're that curious, you can check my Instagram or something. And I think everyone watching this anyway knows me. Second thing is, I realized that I didn't talk much about the podcast. I just said it like 100 times, but I didn't really say like, what is this? Like, what is this thing that I'm trying to create? So yeah, I thought of a name for the podcast. Uh, Two names rather. It could be the Raw Podcast or the Unrefined Podcast. I would rather go with Unrefined Podcast, but it's not a very commercial name. Unrefined. It's kind of tough to say. But yeah, I thought every day, no, not every day. Every some days I'll release a podcast, right? Talking about something in the podcast. I will have a general topic. We'll drift off from there. It's like having a what Ibo, what was it when you put a message in a bottle? Okay. When you put a message in a bottle and throw it in the sea or ocean. I believe like that topic could be this message in the bottle, yeah. It just drifts off to different places. The podcast ah, okay, I'm not going to start. I'm not going to start saying podcast 100 times. All right. Yeah, as I said, I think by this it would be clearer. Like, what am I trying to do? What is going to happen with this podcast? Plus, I really appreciate the feedback I got on my introductory podcast. It was amazing, all right. I have never expected anything of this sort to happen. Like the average viewing time for an 8-minute video is a goddamn 1.46 minutes. Like people, I get it, okay? But like try a little harder for me. I don't know, like I know. Force yourself. Uh, yeah. But yeah, I'm doing it for those 10 people who probably watched the entirety of the 8 minutes. Thank you. Uh, Today's topic, I thought of it for around like 50 seconds. It's going to be disappointment. Oh man, come on. Why are you talking about something so depressing? Disappointment. Nah. Isn't it too early to talk about depressing stuff? Did I say compressing? What? Okay. Anyway, So, disappointment. What do I think of it? I don't know. I think of disappointment as something like a very raw human emotion. Something similar to happiness, anger, sadness. It's just another emotion. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I'm not sure. Wait a minute. Is it an action or is it a feeling or what is it? Okay, like I'm actually going to check right now. What does it really like? Is it an adjective? I don't know. What's an adjective? Okay. Yeah. It's a noun apparently. Thank you, Google Dictionary. Sadness or displeasure caused by the non-fulfillment of one's hopes or expectations. So I guess this definition could set the bar, or set a starting point from where we can start. Yeah, disappointment is quite natural. I mean, who hasn't been disappointed in his life? I mean, it's really interesting. Like, I don't know anyone who was never disappointed. I think it's weird to even try to find someone who was never disappointed. Because, like, can you find someone who was never happy? Except myself? Yeah. Can you find someone who was never angry? No, like, they are extraordinary cases if they were never happy or never angry or never sad. I don't know. There are some people though who are, I don't know, like they grow up to be this really, like there are two sides of the extreme, right? There is this always kind of depressed people, yeah. You barely see them smile. Like at best you can see them smirk. What's a smirk? Yeah, Google it. Anyway, like there are those people who are like dark auras. Then there's the other side of the spectrum. People who move too fast, right? Talk too much, and you just want to hold them in their place, but you can't. They're just moving too fast, talking too fast. God damn it! I cannot communicate with these people. I don't know. Maybe you're one of them. I am one of them. No, but I try to calm down. Maybe it's the ADHD. What is that again? Look it up in Google. I'm going. This is a very, as you can see, scientific podcast. It's going to be dealing with a lot of intricate terms. What is intricate? Google it if you don't know what the word means. I'm going to take minimal effort in trying to educate anyone. I mean, like, come on. Most of the people listening right now are, like, reached a certain place in life. I know, like, I'm a foreigner myself. No wonder the accent. But yeah. So disappointment. I don't know. Like, like, every across someone's life, they have this sort of different types of disappointment. Like, for instance, back in your childhood, you would be disappointed at simpler stuff. Everything is simpler when you're a kid. Yeah, come in.
Oh, bro,
Um,
guess why I'm here? Guess why I'm here?
Here we have Imin in the house. What?
Demanding his?
Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, please not today. Just
Why?
today. I will use it. I need to overnight. Do you need it now?
I need to.
Okay, can we talk after the podcast?
Okay, I'm gonna let you use it one more day, okay?
Thank you.
This night.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you a lot. Yep, as you can see, besides borrowing the mic, I borrowed the chair too. I borrowed the room. I borrowed the bed.
Everything borrowed.
Yeah, I'm borrowing the body from somebody and borrowing everything from ever. I moved into a house. In moving, I lost a chair. So anyway, back on topic. So yeah, as you can see, like different stages of life, you're disappointed differently. Like at this point in my life, I'm disappointed that I don't have a chair. God damn it. Yeah, when you're a child, everything's simpler. Your disappointments are simpler. Like I remember this one time, I was sitting by the window. And my dad was going to get a new car. I was quite young. I would say like around what, 4 years old, 5 years old. But I remember it quite vividly. And I was sitting by the window, and my mom was like, "Your dad is going to get the car, and he's going to park it outside." But so I was like, yeah, sitting looking out of the window for 3 hours, waiting for him to pull up with the car. And in my mind, the car was going to be a purple Volkswagen Beetle. Does that make sense? Can you vision it? Volkswagen Beetle. If I use Beetle, yeah. You know those old ones? Like they're quite robust, like those old ones. Yeah. I thought he would pull up with such a car, right? And it was just my imagination. It's going to be a purple Volkswagen. I don't know why. And then he comes in with the disappointing Mazda. It was white. And I was broken as a child. It didn't really last long. I mean, it's a car at the end. I'm not driving it anyway. It does its purpose. It serves its purpose. You know? Yeah. It was interesting. And I'm not sure when you're disappointed, like, how does someone be disappointed in other people? Like, are you disappointed in the people or are you disappointed in the thing they've done? That's, or is it one and the same thing? I don't know. I'm not sure. It's interesting. I'll, I don't know. I'll think about it maybe. But yeah, usually, like a lot of times, you're disappointed in people. Like especially friends. When you get quite close to people and stuff, and they do something, and you're like, oh god damn it, why did you have to do it? I don't know your significant other. If you have ever lived such a story, I'm sorry. If you have ever been disappointed by other people, I feel sorry for you because I know how it feels. It sucks, especially when you don't expect it. Like it just comes like sucker punches you, boo, out of nowhere. But yeah, speaking of disappointment of people, one of the recent disappointments was actually not that long ago. Yeah, since quarantine started, I don't know. You know, we cook in the house and stuff, and like most of the time, like it's clear who's going to cook. Like you start the day and you're like, yep, today it's my turn to cook. And then that day was not my turn to cook apparently. Then we were talking like, yeah, we're going to make this and cook this and stuff, and I was like, yeah, sure, cool. Like, call me. I'll be laying down. I'll take a nap. While once you're done, just let me know. An hour pass and I've heard nothing. 2 hours pass, still nothing. And then like I was so surprised in my sleep that I woke up. I went to the kitchen and I saw like two of my roommates having two plates, and I was like, wait a minute, didn't you make me some? They're like, oh man, nah, we forgot about the plate and stuff. I'm not sure, did they forget to cook for me or did they forget the plate? To be continued. Question never answered. Disappointment. Uh, yeah, but the funny part is this. Twice I went to sleep, right, midday, and I was forgotten twice when it comes to food. Like I don't get it, right? Like, is it my body not being there that makes you forget it? Like, am I that ephemeral? What is ephemeral? Google it. It's a nice word. It's quite sweet. You can use it for a lot of stuff, certain stuff. Yeah, and then comes, I think, the second level of disappointment is disappointment in yourself. Like, doesn't it suck to be disappointed in yourself? You know?
Why the fuck are you talking about so depressive stuff, Amro?
Yeah, because this is the reality of society. Okay,
People are already depressed.
no one is depressed. Everyone's sitting at home having fun. I mean, like, sorry to say this, right? Since people started sitting at home, now they have excuses to share shitty stories on Instagram, like bad stories on Instagram. Sorry, yeah, and like you get comments and people started communicating with each other more online or something. Yeah, like come on. Yeah, everyone's scared of disease, but it doesn't mean I'm going to be any easier on anyone. This is a podcast for the strong hearts. Then comes disappointment in yourself. I'm about to cry. Disappointment in yourself. Like the best thing to do when it comes to your own mental state. it's just to know yourself. It's quite a very simple thing, yet I believe it's really tough. To believe, to know yourself. Because sometimes, like you open the news and you're like 23-year-old millionaire just finished his deal with Google or something like that. I don't know if I say this many brand names. Is it a problem? I really don't know. I'm just starting up. I hope it's not a problem. I just came to my mind. I'm just throwing in out those. Hmm, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Yeah, okay, anyway. I don't think I pronounced it correctly anyway. Uh, Disappointment. The best thing is to know yourself, okay? Like, know yourself, know your limitations, know where to start, know where to end. Like, everyone has different thing in life. You cannot just be like, oh man, why am I sitting at home and not doing anything? Come on, conditions are different, stuff is different. No, you have to just be realistic with yourself. And one of the worst types of disappointment is the disappointment in books. It sucks. You buy a book, right? You wait for it to come. God knows how long. The longest I waited for a book to arrive was, I believe, a couple of weeks. Yeah, and the book was so cool. Okay, it had this beautiful cover. Let me check if I still have it laying around. So it was, yeah, I found it. Like, it was a cool book, all right. The cover art, like, it was great. It was by, it's sci-fi. Kurt Vonnegut Jr. Fuck me. Can I say the name of the book at least? I don't know. The Sirens of Titan. Okay, that's the name of the book. Check it up online. It has amazing book cover. It's beautiful. The one I have, it's purple and it has like this guy stretching out to through three different kind like races of women. I don't know, and then one of them. Yeah, it's a really cool book. It's a really cool book. Yeah, I put it back. But here's the thing, right? Before that, I've read The Stars My Destination. It's an amazing sci-fi book. It's wonderful. Okay, from I finished it like in a couple of days or 3 days. I finished the entire book in that much. The Stars My Destination. All right, it was a recommendation by one of my instructors. It was great. I loved it, and it set the bar really high for other books. Like I expected. Wow, god damn it! I'm not a heavy reader. Okay, I prefer usually reading articles or stuff of that sort, or reading Wikipedia page. uh, but yeah, like it set the bar really high for books. I was like, wow, books are actually amazing. Then when I read that book, like The Silence of Titan, and you're like reading, and it was a good book. Okay, like I liked the plot, but the execution was kind of lacking. So I read the book, and I was waiting for this big moment to happen. Since like back when I was reading, like for the first few times, and I was like expecting this big thing to happen. It just never did. I kind of sucked, and I finished the book, and I was disappointed, and I felt bad. I mean, I wasted time waiting for it, and then preparing mentally for it, and then reading it, and I wasted time being depressed about how disappointing it was later. Will I read this book again? Yeah, probably I will. It was a good read. I wouldn't say anything, but it was not as huge as I expected. Sorry. And then comes one of the big ones, disappointment in idols. Like how you think of someone like, whoa, god damn it, this person is a great person. He looks amazing. Whoa, they look amazing. They're great at what they do. They're really talented and stuff like that. And then you just like get to know them a little better. I don't know, like you check if it's like that kind of idol, unreachable idol. Like realistically, if it's a celebrity, like I don't know, Jack Nicholson. Okay, cool. He might be my idol, but it's not like I can ring him up. Hey, this sort of unreachable idols. And then once you get to know them more, like I'm not speaking about Jack Nicholson at this point, just talking generally. And then you get to know the idols more, and you're like, holy shit, these are not nice people. Like for example, I remember the other day there was this band. I'm not going to say their name. It's not worth it. They have a lovely music. I love it. It's great. It's indie, electronic, synth, dream pop. It's quite complicated, but I love their music. Yeah, I used to get very emotional when I listened to it and stuff. And then days passed, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm not hearing anything new from these people. And they were quite young too. Like, why am I not hearing anything? And apparently, one of the members was a rapist. It was a huge disappointment. It felt like shit. I felt really disappointed. Like, how? Like, why? Why? Like, I don't know. At that point, you cannot really question why. It's just people's natures. Like the same way you can. Like, it was just not fun. Just like, oh god damn it, nah. Oh my god, he's now like a convicted rapist. I can't hear any more of his music. Yeah. By the way, thankfully, I exaggerated like by saying rapist. It was more of a something less than a rapist, right? Because no one like I don't remember anyone being physically harmed by him. Like he was just texting rubbish, something like that. So rapist, I might have been exaggerated a bit, but I'm not quite sure. It's been a long time since I read about the incidents that happened with him. It was quite disappointing, you know. That happens with your idols. Like you know how they say don't meet your idols. I think it's true. I mean, even those reachable idols, like the ones like I don't know, you look up to an instructor, to your dad, to your ma, to someone around you, you know, and you get to know them better, not meet them because you see them, or like instructors. I don't know, that local neighborhood figure, a family friend. You look up to them, and then once you get closer, you're like, holy shit, nah, like no, I would rather be myself. Yeah, well, I guess life is full of disappointments. I mean, if there is hope, there is always disappointment. If you're hoping for something, like it's like flipping a coin. You probably might be disappointed in it too. I think it goes that way. Like there is hope, there is disappointment. I'm not saying like everyone should be hopeless. That's stupid. But most of the cases, like when there, not hope, maybe expectations. Whenever there is expectations, there is probably disappointment. When you're expecting something, yeah, definitely. When you're expecting something from someone, from something in itself, I don't know. There is always this sort of disappointment. Like for all our, when you're sliding into that DMs and you're expecting something to grow out of it with a very cringy first text, like, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? That kind of shit. People are expecting something in return. I don't know. They are living their own dream.
What are you doing?
I'm doing the podcast.
What?
Okay, you enjoyed us on the podcast. Today we were talking about disappointment.
Wasn't it yesterday?
No, I couldn't record it yesterday because the headphones ran out of charge.
Ah, so you were talking to air
No,
while recording?
I spoke for like 10 minutes and then I look at the screen at once and then it just stops recording and then I realized, wait a minute.
Oh, you didn't talk for 10 seconds, you talked for 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes, but it was not enough. Plus, I want this to be like a one sit thing, I don't want to like cut it, slap it, stick it to something. I just want like recording to be just one for recording for two reasons. One, it's natural. Two, I don't have the technical skills. I really cannot. I barely last time put together a picture and the video and like the audio, and it really was tough for me. It
No,
took me 2 days.
you should be really happy. You should be really happy that you can do this, sitting on my chair.
Ah,
You have the privilege of recording your own voice, for example, while sitting on my chair.
and using Evo's headphones.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, that was part of my life. Please don't judge me. Please don't think I'm cheap or poor, because I'm both.
You would never compromise on that.
No, it's just like buying a mic in a time of quarantine, okay, instead of like buying bread or something is retarded. Like, especially like I'll be realistic, okay? I'm not making money out of this. I'm doing this as a sort of favor for humanity. So why should I get a mic when I can borrow one? Plus for the chair, I am going to get a chair. I have to get a chair. It's good for your backbone and stuff instead of sitting on the ground. Sitting on the ground is good. Sleeping, laying down on the ground is amazing. It's wonderful. It's one of the best things that someone might do. You mean Ibo? Have you ever tried laying down on the ground?
Yeah,
It's isn't it good?
I woke up miserable.
Nah. I remember back in Egypt when I was young, right? My grandma had this huge red carpet in the middle of the living room, and we just go and throw my body over it, like I'm dead. And then my grandfather would be like, isn't that dirty? Why don't you get up and stuff?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm happy here." You know, with that texture just rubbing against your skin.
Sell your bed then.
Sell my bed then? Nah.
Sell
Like,
bed money. Things might get worse.
here's the thing: if I sell this bed, right, two reasons I like. No, I wouldn't consider selling the bed for three reasons. Number one, I'm a human being, okay, and I live in 21st century, so I don't think it's viable to sell my bed.
Okay,
Number two, it's too heavy.
I know the third reason. Enough.
You got me, bro. Thank you for understanding. The third reason was because under the bed I have this sort of secret storage that I keep my clothes in because my cupboard can fit because my cupboard is small.
You keep
What
your
the fuck?
dignity
I
under
really
the
sound
bed,
poor. I have a small cupboard. I don't have a chair. I bought the mic. What am I doing? Like, the more I talk, the more I realize it's fucked.
you keep your dignity under the bed as well.
No, I keep it in my pocket. That's why I always be happy when I see you. I made no sense.
Fucking idiots. None of us make sense.
What? I missed the point. No, I didn't miss the point. I think, yeah, we're wrapping up now. There is no. Is there something more to talk about? Yeah, definitely. There are like words are infinite. I can talk as long as I can, or have something in mind. So, yeah. Last type of disappointment is disappointment
No, no,
in.
no, 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 no. You said there were two types of disappointment.
Really?
Yes, in the beginning. I think I heard you say that.
Uh,
Then why are you coming up with a third one?
no, actually, I spoke about
You're a
six of them.
hypocrite.
No, no, there is not types of disappointment. I'm just saying like those that come to the top of my mind. But I'm saying disappointment is like two types were disappointment from something like something someone has done, yes, and disappointment like towards somebody. So towards something someone has done and towards somebody.
I've lost all my trust in you on this.
Welcome to the group. My parents would love to talk to you. Oh shit. Yeah. And okay, well, it's not a type of disappointment. It's rather like the ones that I can kind of relate to is disappointment in this podcast. Oh no, wait a minute. What? Your podcast is amazing, Amro. Why are you saying that? How can you even think that you could disappoint us? Oh my god, no! Yeah, I mean, like, let's be realistic. Okay, not every day is a good day for me. Sometimes I'm feeling bad. Sometimes I'm feeling good. I'm just a regular human. I'm just a normal, everyday. I'm just a regular, everyday, normal. Yeah, he's listening to some music. He can't hear me. So yeah, so one thing I can guarantee you: the contents of this podcast are going to be really varied in terms of what I have to offer. Like sometimes I'm funny, sometimes I'm really boring. You know, it's just regular. It's just like sometimes you go somewhere and you have ton of shit to talk to people. You're like, wow, do you see that? Oh my god, that was amazing. Do you remember that? Sometimes you're like, yo, I'm leaving now. You know. So that was pretty much it for today. Yeah, I think yeah, 20 to 30 minutes. Tough. I'm hitting a 32 mark. I would say by the time this is done, it's going to be 32. I'm looking at the time goes, and yeah. Anyway, I believe that was it for today. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's not depressing. Um, it might be depressing in the beginning, but if you listen towards the end, I'm sure you'll have fun. This is like, uh, what was it called? Constructive. No, what? What was it? Oh my god, no, come on. I just needed like that word to finish. Come on. It's more like a progressive podcast, like we start somewhere and then we end up with another mood. That would be cool. Oh, that's actually really cool. Imagine this, you're listening to a track of music. Dead Mouse is great when it comes to that kind of progressive music. You start off with something and then towards like 10 minutes in, you're like, okay, I'm starting to get bored. Like, when is anything going to drop? Then you just like, and it starts and you're like, bomb, different mood. So progressive stuff is cool. I can think, yeah, let's consider today's episode as a progressive podcast. Starts off depressing and then ends up at a higher note, hopefully. I mean, if it's not clear from my voice, it should be clear from my picture. Anyway, that's it for today. Have a good day or good night.